Welcome all, it's Russ, and I'm here because I want to give you a quick tutorial into how we're going to be handling lecture. Uh, when I posted the previous video, I was pretty sure that we were going to be using Panopto to do the lecture. But what I found out when I actually tested it with my son is that Panopto is optimized for recording lectures. It's not really optimized for interactive lectures, and so the lag is quite high. And so instead, what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a Zoom meeting. And I figured out, I think, all the features that we're going to need in order to handle both lecture and office hours. All right, so if you notice, I've got two screens up here. The screen that's right above me here, this is what I'm going to see, or what the TAs are going to see when they're handling office hours. I'm showing you both sides, even though most of you are never going to use this, because I think it's important for you to understand what the TAs are doing, and if things are not, if things are going slower than you expected, or they don't feel like they're working well, hopefully you can have a better understanding of what they're trying to do. The video over here, to my left, but it's to your right, is going to be what the student experience is going to be like. So for the vast majority of you, you'll focus over here, and that'll give you what you need. All right, to start with, to host something, we're going to have two meetings. I've got some old meetings here that I'm going to clean out of D2L when I was just learning how to use Zoom. The TA or myself is going to start a meeting, and you're going to log in here and hit start. All the TAs should be authorized as hosts of the meeting, and so you can now begin the meeting. I've got my participants list. By the way, there's somewhere here, I forget where, there's a little drop down that can make the participants list a flyout. I like that. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. All right, so what I've done is I've created this meeting, I've hosted it, got it started. So let's go over to the student experience. All right, so over here, I've added a couple of links to, I can look at you while I'm looking at the screen. I've added a couple of links to the class webpage. This is the link that you will use to join into the 120 lecture. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now you'll notice on both of these computers, this goes into the Zoom app. When you are first using Zoom, you'll be given a choice. You can install an application on your computer, which will, every time we click on a Zoom link, it'll actually run this application. I think that's actually a pretty good design choice. But if you prefer, there is an alternate. You can cancel the download, and there's a join from your browser option that you can play around with too. All right, so right now, I have started the meeting, but I'm not really sharing anything. You'll notice when I look over here that I'm muted. Or I'm sorry, I'm not muted. The host is not muted, but I've got it configured so that all the students are muted. Now, oh, I can show you the flyout here. Normally the participants is just a tab, or not a tab, but like a subset of the window. If you want to make it a separate window, you can click here and say pop out. Not necessary, but if you like that style, you're welcome to it. Right now, I'm talking, but the student is muted. You are welcome to unmute yourself if you've got a question. In fact, I really, really encourage it. This is going to be a really painful, difficult experience if I'm just sitting here talking in one direction to you all. We really want to have an interactive time. So feel free, you can unmute yourself temporarily. I do expect that with a class of 300 students, we are going to periodically have somebody forget and leave themselves unmuted. If we look over at the host experience, there is a mute all button. So even if you've unmuted yourself, got a little feedback, I can mute. Sorry about that. I forgot about the feedback. So I can mute everybody except myself. When I do that, don't worry about, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be rude and get you to shut up. It's just I'm trying to manage the chaos level that we're likely to have here. Feel free, as I said, at any time, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question. Let's look over on the student computer again. You can unmute yourself here by clicking this. That will unmute yourself for a while. Or if you're not, now be careful not to be in the chat. So let's click somewhere other than the chat. If you click space, you can temporarily unmute yourself. So watch this little mute icon when I hold the space bar. So I was temporarily unmuted. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get the feedback loop. All right, so now as students, you can post questions. You can raise your hand. I think we're probably going to need to avoid this option. It's kind of cool if you had a small meeting, but if you can imagine what it would be like for 300 students in this chat, there's no chance I'm going to see you. I mean, if you happen to be the very top person, oh, I'll notice there's a raised hand. But other than that, I'm never going to see you. So that's probably a useless option. But these are kind of cool. You can post a status. You can say, hey, you're boring me. I want you to go faster. This is too difficult. I want you to go slower. If I ask a question of the class, you can post your yes or your no option. It only allows you to post one status at a time. And if you want to turn off your current status, you can just click on it again. I also have an option as the instructor to do a clear all. That's just so if I've done some big poll of the class and now I kind of want to reset and be able to ask a different question, I can say clear all and say, hey, everybody who thinks that the answer is 10, click yes. Everybody who thinks that the answer is 8, click no. Something like that. Now, from time to time, we're going to do active learning activities. I really believe in the active learning activities. We're going to do this with Zoom breakout rooms. So I have an option down here where I can click on breakout rooms. They are not currently active. So when you look at your own list, you won't see it. But when I create the breakout rooms, I can say, hey, I want to have 20 different breakout rooms, and we'll automatically assign them. And now what will happen is it will assign the students. I don't know if it does it randomly or if it spreads it somehow. But when I click open all rooms, then you'll get an invite. So let's go look at the student experience. We have an option here to join a room. Essentially what a breakout room is it's just another meeting that's kind of controlled by the same host as the ordinary meetings. So you can go ahead and you can click join. And what we'll notice here on the host side is that Eric, who was the simulated student, is no longer in the main meeting. They are in the breakout room. And so what the TAs can do while these meetings are going on is you can go to the breakout rooms and you can click join. And now you can temporarily join a breakout room. Now that's something that only hosts have ability to do. The students are not going to be able to do this. Let's go back to the student experience. You can leave the breakout room. If you do that, it will still give you an option for breakout, but the breakout will always send you back to this same room. So wherever you've been assigned, that's your one breakout room. This is something actually I haven't tried yet. I want to leave this breakout room. Let's see what this ask for help button does. What does the student see? All right, well, here's an ask for help button. When you invite the host, oh, that's really interesting. So I can be invited to join your breakout room. Okay. All right, that's kind of cool. When it's time to end the breakout rooms, I will close them all. You'll get a little notification over here that says the breakout room is closing. As soon as you've finished your little conversation, whatever you're talking about, you can return to the main session. And when everybody's closed, then we can rejoin the main discussion here. So that is the key features. I'll show you the chat as well. We're going to have 300 people in this room. And so if you're typing meaningless things on this, it's going to get really chaotic really fast. So I want you to limit the chat to important things, questions you want to ask or whatever. Um, actually, that would be a great way. Let's set up a social norm. If you want to ask a question, why don't you just type question here? And I'll notice, oh, you asked the question. And then what I'll do is I'll say, hey, to, person XYZ, would you ask your question, please? So we'll give that a try. See if that works better than raising hands. So anyway, that's the plan. We're going to go through on Zoom. We're going to try to run this lecture. Oh, I do need to show you screen sharing. I haven't shown you how I'm going to share mine yet. So I'm going to share a window. And I can select over here. And so now what you notice is that I'm screen sharing this window. And over on the student side, you see the same window, right? So this is mostly going to be me going through the various slides and saying, here's what we talk about, X, Y, and Z. You can also screen share when you're inside a breakout room. So let me send everybody into breakout rooms again. And now, if you're an ordinary member of the breakout room, you're nobody special, you can share your screen. So you can say, hey, I've got something I want to share. Here's my code in Mu. And you can share your Mu editor. And now, if somebody else is in that same room, we see your shared screen, just like everybody else is. This is a shared screen. So this will allow people to collaborate over writing code, but you can also draw pictures, which is kind of cool. So let's stop sharing here. And let's hit share screen again. You can share your entire computer if you want, but this is the one I want to show you. Show a whiteboard. All right, the whiteboard here is literally just a drawing environment. Where's my There's my mouse. So you can draw things. Under draw, you've got a whole bunch of things. So you could say, I want to draw an object and another object and another object, and we'll draw lines between them. This isn't going to be nearly as good. We can erase objects, of course. This is not going to be nearly as good as drawing on real paper, but it's kind of okay. And this is a collaborative thing. So here's the student who's sharing. Now let's go look at the host perspective. All the other members of the chat should be able to see this as well. You can click annotate. And now you could say XYZ. And you can put something in there. And so now the whiteboard can be a collaborative space where different people can be working together to basically draw on the same piece of paper. All right, so that's basically what we're looking for. We're going to experiment here, and hopefully we'll be able to make this a good learning experience for everybody. Hope this was useful to you. I'll see you all later. Bye now.